are doing well. I have another new microphone. I've kind of messed around with it a little bit, but I'm, I think, well, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think of the microphones. Whether you want me to go back to the one I used on my phone, the one I used in the last video, or this one here. I think either way I'll keep this one. Well, it'll be useful for any like outside type videos I want to do. So I might keep it for that reason, but I might return the other one depending what you guys say of what your favorite mic is. And that's assuming you can even tell the difference. I know the phone microphones now are pretty good, so it may not be any purpose with me getting this particular mic. Um, so yeah, I know it's pretty crazy to see this many videos from me. By the way, I just wanted to point something out. I noticed on my videos I have ads now, and I've never turned the ad function on my videos. I just never have. Maybe I should have in order to get, those sweet large amounts of ad revenue I'm sure I would get. But I kind of felt like they're not exactly relaxing to listen to ads at any point in these videos. So I did a little bit of research and found out that YouTube is just put these ads on every video, whether the creator has opted in for it or not. So I just wanted to let you guys know I'm sorry about that. I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. I know it's not the most relaxing thing, so yeah, bit of a bummer. Anyways, once again, it's the middle of the night here, and I don't have a particular topic. I'm going to do my best to not talk about depressing things in this video, but although last year was not a great year for myself or my wife, we did still get to do some fun things. We went on a couple of trips, so obviously very fortunate. Back in July, we went on a road trip down through Montana. Where else did we go? Montana, Idaho, and stopped along some beaches. And we did a lot of driving in a very short period of time. Now I drive for work and normally don't really mind driving, but this was a lot even for me. So we drove we drove that, and then we drove back up through British Columbia and then back east to Alberta from there. And we did all this in about 4 days, I believe, or 4.5. I was a little, I probably still am sick of road trips at this point. It was a bit much, but we were trying to cover as much ground as possible so that we didn't have to pay for accommodations as much as possible. But we really loved it. It was a really fun trip. And then when we got back, that's when we started with some of the losses. But up to that point, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, we really enjoyed it. And my wife really loves the ocean. So after our second loss in beginning of November, we again I think just needed to get away. And so we went on a trip during Christmas break. We actually went on a cruise. It's the first cruise that we'd really been on, and again, it wasn't really something that is my ideal idea of a vacation. I've never been on a Caribbean tropical vacation. I usually like to travel for history because I'm such a history nerd. But I wanted to go on a trip that my wife could see the ocean as much as possible, which you can't get any more ocean than a cruise ship, I figured. So we went on a 7-night cruise. thousands of people. Crowded areas in general are just not my idea of fun. I'm somebody who very much prefers to stay away from people in general, probably. Negative side effects of my career choice, I guess. But we decided to get a balcony so that my wife could see the ocean as much as possible, and if we were wanting to avoid the crowds, we could just go there. So we sailed from Port Canaveral and went to we had a sea day, which we both agreed it was our favorite. We really just enjoyed sitting on the balcony and just watching the ocean. Now, since we grew up in the prairies, we don't exactly have our sea lakes. So that first night, I was a little concerned because the seas were a little rough. Well, rough for us. And so we were getting a little seasick. But we took some pills for that, and those knocked us out, and never had issues for the rest of the cruise after that. So we went to Mexico. We made 2 port stops there. And on one of the port stops, we went to some Mayan ruins. So that I could get my history fix, and my wife likes that stuff too, which is very convenient, or at least she pretends to, for my sake. So I appreciate that. So we went to those, and those were really, really cool. It was flippin' hot. It's so humid, and I don't do well in heat and humidity, I have discovered. So it felt like no matter how much water I drank, I was always so dehydrated by the time I got back to the ship. And I tried so hard. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then we went to Belize, and we went snorkeling with just some nurse sharks and stingrays, and around some coral reef. And my wife cannot swim, so luckily they give like little life jackets, but she was still clinging on to me pretty good. So that was really cool to see my wife, despite the tour guide's best effort and mine to assure her that nurse sharks are pretty safe to be with in the water. She was brave and she did get in, but she was a little freaked out and clung to me pretty good. I figure it's not because she feels safe with me, but more so to use me as a human sacrifice, which is fair. And I mean, to be fair, when we booked the tour, it said that it was to swim with sea turtles, and obviously, you cannot just demand sea turtles show up. So, she didn't want to do anything to do with sharks, which was fair. So I felt bad that that's what ended up happening, but she did actually enjoy it afterwards, and it was a cool experience, especially for people that don't live near the ocean and never grew up with it, right? So after that, after Belize, we went to we had another sea day, and then we went to the cruise ship's island thing, which was in the Bahamas, and that was a really beautiful place. Unfortunately, we had some not great weather. We were pretty lucky for the majority of the cruise, though, but that day we had rain and wind and everything else, but we had rented some snorkel gear, and we were the only ones out of thousands of people on that island that were in the water. We figured we were going to get our money's worth, and we're maybe never going to get another opportunity to do something like this again. So we still went snorkeling and saw a couple more stingrays and some really cool fish. And so we went around a group of rocks along the shore, because in my research, that's where I heard some fish were in that area to see. So when we did that, I went around the corner, and my wife can swim with the flippers, so she can swim okay with those, but I still stuck close with her, just in case. And of course she's scared of sharks, so I asked her, because I needed to urinate, and I asked her if she wanted to come out of the water while I went to do that, and she said she would just stick close to the shore. So as I was starting to swim in, she wasn't very far from me, but she was looking around onto the water when she suddenly popped up and was a little panicked and yelled, or kind of yelled at me, "Shark, shark." So I, of course, figured maybe it was a large shark, like tiger shark or something, and so I dove in, looking around while I was swimming towards her, and I was trying to swim very gently so as to not, attract the shark further. And I got to my wife, and we swam to shore, and I kept looking around, and I didn't see anything. I never saw the shark. So I started, not long after, teasing her that it was probably just a large fish. And I asked her how large it was, and she indicated it was, I don't know, maybe 1.5 meters long. 2 meters, I think it was, maybe. And so I wasn't overly concerned. And so we swam around again, and one other person was in the water at that point and asked us if we had seen the sharks. And so at that point I finally believed my wife. she doesn't know shark species, and I'm not great at it either. So when we got back, we did some research, and it was definitely not a nurse shark. We know that, but we're not sure if it was a smaller reef shark or what. But either way, it was pretty cool, and I'm jealous that my wife saw it and I didn't. Um, and then after that island, we went back to Port Canaveral and flew out that same day. So it was overall a very cool experience. I still wouldn't say cruises are like my top thing I'd want to do, but I would because I do like the ocean, and I like how happy it makes my wife as well, so I would definitely do it again for those reasons, and I definitely didn't hate it. Um, and it's very beautiful down there for sure. Gorgeous water. Definitely things you get to experience and see that you wouldn't be able to here. So I'm happy that we did it. And, maybe we'll start saving now for being able to do that in 10 years. But it was definitely worth it. It was weird being in a tropical place for Christmas as well. Yeah, it was definitely a different experience. Not having snow and having it be, you're walking around in shorts and flip-flops. But still a very cool experience that I would do it again, that's for sure. So apparently that's what I've decided to talk about in this video. Again, very impromptu, but I hope you guys enjoyed